All right, thank you, Jimmy Holder. Ryan Burrow, ladies and gentlemen, he survived 3 World Series games in his beloved Wrigley Field. Good morning, Ryan Burrow, live in Chicago.
Good morning. Oh, my gosh. I think that Walgreens is going to be sold out of blood pressure monitors by the end of today, because what a nail-biter yesterday. It was last night, 3-2 win for the Cubs. They needed that. Obviously, they need every game now at this point, facing elimination, but did not start off well in Chicago, that's for sure, losing the first 2 games before finally picking up that last one and saving the series to this point.
Can we all agree that Bill Murray's Daffy Duck taking out the ball game was a dud?
I was not impressed by it, but there were a lot of people who had been served a few that thought it was awesome, so whatever.
Was there an inside joke that I missed on that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, he led off by saying it's the last call for beer, and then I'm going to do this whole thing as Daffy Duck. Yesterday, last night was Eddie Vedder, and he did kind of like a duet with Harry Carey on the video board, which was kind of interesting.
Who did it? Yeah, I thought last night I was good. Who did it Saturday night?
Saturday night was probably the hardest act of all time for Vince Vaughn, because the Cubs had just given up 3 runs in the top of the 7th, and they were down 7-2, and his job was to get everyone. Or no, they were down 7-1 at that point, and his job was to get everyone up and rallied and ready to go. So that was a tough one for Vince.
Overall, though, with the crowds outside, the people inside, I guess it was just a good weekend in Chicago all the way around, right?
You know what it was? It was homecoming. It was homecoming for Chicago fans, generations spanning from the 40s, 50s, 60s. They all came in. Some of them got into the stadium, some of them didn't. But, you know, for the most part, it seemed to me from all the reports I'm seeing and what I witnessed from out there, it seemed like the crowds, while, very heavy, were pretty well controlled. And, part of that might be the fact that they lost the first 2 games, and that kept some people away on Sunday. But I don't think there was an uptick in arrests by any means.
Did you hear anybody getting tickets at a reasonable price as the game got closer?
Sunday ticket prices came down quite a bit after they dropped those first 2, and I think everyone realized that it wasn't going to be a World Series clincher in a Game 5 scenario. Ticket prices did fall down a little bit, but I think now in Cleveland you're going to start seeing them go up as a lot of people drive 5.5 hours east from Chicago to go catch 1, maybe even 2 games.
Are they going to open up Wrigley Field like they did in Cleveland and have people come to the stadium and watch it on the big screens?
You know what? They're not. As of now, we haven't heard anything about that. That's a pretty cool thing that they were doing in Cleveland with all that money, or a big chunk of that money going to charity. Obviously, they've got some costs to cover as well. But, Wrigley Field, they were shutting it down yesterday. I don't believe they're going to use it anymore for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Plot thickens. All right. Good time was had by all. Pretty special World Series. It continues tomorrow night in Cleveland, Game 6. You still think your Cubbies have a chance to pull this out?
One game at a time. One game at a time. And you know what? I got to tell you, in the locker room afterwards, it doesn't matter which team. These guys are cool as cucumbers. I mean, from the Cubs' perspective, they said, look, we won 3 games in a row 18 times this year. From the Indians, they've got 2 games to, get a win, scratch one away. So, they're a lot calmer than the fan bases, I think.
Well, of course, because they're actually playing the game. Ryan Burrow, ABC News correspondent, live in Chicago. Give us an update on all the festivities. Ryan, thanks for checking in.
Take care.
It's 8:23 here, Big 550.